listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast, a Texas Tech athletics podcast where food and sports clash at the goal line. Here are your hosts, Spencer and Michael.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode of 23 Personnel Podcast. I am your host, Spencer, and by Michael. Michael, what's up, man?
I am very excited. I liked knowing that Texas Tech had already punched their ticket via an Arizona Wildcat win. Shout out Seth Dagey on Friday. But I also like knowing that QB4 got some playing time on the road to cap off an 11-1 season for the first time since 2008 and only the second time ever. Hello, how are you?
Michael, is your team playing in the Big 12 title game? Because
that would be yes. Same. That's where we're at.
Well, it's
all over the place. It's all over. It's behind me. It's on my shirt. I got to. What was nice was, and we'll get into this on the Tuesday, but I did have our family Thanksgiving today on Saturday. Of course, we're recording this Saturday evening, and it was during the game. We had the game on. Very quickly could kind of check out of it a little bit, but the family all decked out in double T gear at Thanksgiving. So I think that might be a first.
Yeah. Jacob says, how about them Red Raiders?
Oh,
how about them?
Whew.
So I can't remember exactly when my brother brought it up. He said, hey, if we make it to Arlington, are we going to get tickets and go? And I was like, man, that's a long way off. And then Arizona clinched it for Texas Tech last night. Again, you mentioned Seth Dagey, real one, real Red Raider, getting it done for us. I was halfway concerned that if Texas Tech had it locked up Friday night, that they may have come out flat. And then I was like on my workout this morning, I was trying to like manufacture some juice for the game. I was like, you know what? With A&M losing Friday night, giving you a spot to move up ahead of you to maybe even get a bye, a first round bye. You don't want to be the visitor, if you will, in the title game. You want to go out there, make a statement, potentially secure a spot to move up. I was like, yeah, great. We got something to play for today. And then you put up 21 points on West Virginia before they picked up a first down, it felt like. I think on their second drive, they finally, they may have finished their second drive back to even yardage. I think they got back to 0, maybe. Your second drive, you were putting up 14 points. And then, I mean, it was church, man. You scored on, let me look at it real quick. You scored on you scored touchdowns on your first 3 drives, including a 16-play, 83-yard drive on drive number 2. Touchdown, punt, touchdown, interception, half, touchdown, fumble, touchdown, punt, half. So you ended both halves with the ball. Granted, you were trying to get into position to score points in the first half, ended up taking a sack and decided, we're not going to push it too hard there. Up 28-0. But good gravy, man. I expected, well, hold on. How many points did I say Texas Tech was going to score this weekend? I don't think it was 49. And I remember feeling very optimistic in our preview. I remember I picked a big number and then I backed off of it. And then I was like, actually, I feel better about the number, and I made it even worse. I took Texas Tech to win. I settled on 38-13, because I thought that the road atmosphere, because Texas Tech had not scored as many points on the road as they had at home, I backed off a little bit. I took Texas Tech to cover, and then somehow gave West Virginia 13 points. Seeing what they did today, it was obvious their game plan for stretches of this game, Michael, was to throw the ball deep, to have a miraculous catch, or to get a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't run the ball. Scotty Fox, their quarterback, not a bad quarterback. This defense is just that good, and there wasn't much else they could do about it. So I want to start with the defense. I think that's where we started a lot of these post games with. You held an opponent to 180 total yards. Total yards is kind of when you give a bunch of yards, but not very many points. Total yards is kind of a throwaway stat. When you give up very few total yards and no points, it points to domination, right? Like you can do one or the other, but not have it mean anything. But 180 total yards, 143 through the air. Scotty Fox Jr. finished 13 of 23 for 98 passing yards. No quarterback, no starting quarterback. No, sorry, not starting quarterback, because West Virginia played 4 of them. No quarterback eclipsed 100 yards. You had 98, 9, 7, and 29. And I say quarterback. Cam Vaughn completed a pass. He's not a quarterback. That was their biggest passing play of the day. 57% completion percentage for Scotty Fox Jr., 98 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. They did rotate through Khalil Wilkins and Max Brown. Both of those guys completed a singular pass each for 9 and 7 yards, and Max Brown threw an interception. That I thought was pretty impressive. We know how good your rush defense is, Michael, but on a team like West Virginia that's pretty clearly, I would say one-dimensional, but like where their singular strength lies is on the ground, to hold them to 1.7 yards per carry, 22 runs for 37 total yards. It's just wild.
Yeah, West Virginia, as you said, definitely a run-centric team offensively, and they came into the game averaging 172 rushing yards per game, 3.8 yards per carry. You pointed that out on the podcast that that's not really a great average, but that just shows how committed they are. So, Texas Tech definitely held them below that, which is what we expected. But to see it come to fruition, to see, West Virginia get held to 37 rushing yards. And if you take sack adjusted, that's 54. So it's not a gigantic change there. And what was it? You already mentioned it. It was 1.7 yards per rush. So, I mean, a dominating performance by the defense yet again on the road this time. It was pretty sparse in Morgantown today. Must have been a lot of people at the beach, but realistically, let's see how many Red Raider fans will be in the stands at 4-7 under the first year of a repeat coach. So, when Matt Wells comes back in 15 years or something, and they're 4-7, let's see how many people are in the stands. But I don't want to stress on that too much. Is my camera doing weird stuff? Can you still hear me okay?
You look and sound great.
Wow. Not on this end. It's wild looking. As long as you can still hear me, that's good.
Well, okay, your camera over on Riverside is being a little janky.
Yeah,
I was looking at the YouTube stream and it hadn't caught up yet. Yeah, it's being weird.
Okay, well, I may just mute it for now, and wow, now it's telling me my device is struggling to record. What should I do? Good night. Well, at least Texas Tech's team is taking care of business. So anyway, I'm muting the camera. Hopefully, my laptop will rebound from this. How they'll have their own comeback against 30-3, and see how that turns out. But anyway, yeah, Texas Tech was defensively as advertised today. Wow.
Hey, 1 second. It says to rejoin, to refresh and rejoin from a regular browser.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but like, oh, here you go. As Michael's coming back, we'll give him a second. I'm not sure how much that you were hearing or how much it may have hit recorded, but defensively, you gave up one. We talked about it. One big run, one big pat. Well, you gave up 3 big passing plays, 17, 23, and 29, and then one big rushing play of 29. So that does bring your total number of explosive runs surrendered on the season to 5. You've given up 5 runs of 20 yards or more on the entire season, because of a 29-yard run today in halfway through the fourth quarter. You were deep in your depth chart at that point. All right, Michael's back. I'm not sure where he cut off maybe, but you were... Yeah, Roy says we could hear everything just fine. The audio wasn't a problem for me. I could definitely hear you until it said, Riverside said, hey, he's no longer recording. So
yeah, Riverside gave me 2 or 3 error messages I've never seen before in 3 years of using them. So it kind of freaked me out. Sorry, everybody, but I'm back.
TMN says, who has it better than us?
Oh, tough to argue. I don't know. Looking good, feeling good. Have a game against a team that Texas Tech already beat soundly. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but let's also look at what has happened.
Yeah, I was gonna. Well, we'll get to the regular season recap because Texas Tech finishes the regular season 11-1. You mentioned it. I was texting with my brother. We've only done this once before, and then I had another conversation with my wife about it. Well, last time we did this, the one loss, like I'm not sure if you replayed that game if you're going to win it when you lost to Oklahoma. I'm 98% confident that if we replayed that game versus Arizona State, you'd be 12-0.
Yeah, even if Hammond started.
Even with Hammond.
Yeah, I don't think I would. I agree. If you tried out the exact same roster, that 9 times out of 10, I think that's going to be a win for Texas Tech. And the other thing Texas Tech has never done is make it to the Big 12 championship game, period, or even be in the conversation, except for that same year where it was the weird 3-way tie with the Big 12 South, yada yada, a big nothing burger at that time.
I was trying to like just describe that scenario to Samantha, and it's just crazy because she was at the game. But I was like, the last time you were 11-1, you didn't even get a chance to play in the conference championship game. Like no. You weren't even the representative from the division, because of the 3-way tie.
And there was no 12-team playoff to play for anything else except to get ceremoniously kicked at the Cotton Bowl. I don't know.
That was a rough day. I worked overnight.
So bad. I was
worked
there
overnight the day before so I could go to the game. I was also there. And it was, that was, granted, like when you're sitting across the side, like if a stadium's half and half and you're across the side, like everything you hear is going to be from the other side. And that was a unique experience for me at that time. Ole Miss was very loud, again, because it was like right in your face. If I could go the rest of my days and not hear hotty toddy ever again, I would be just fine. Which may be, I don't know. I mean, it's 9:25. Have we heard a Lane Kiffin announcement yet? Or are we like 6 or 7 hours overdue at this point?
Oh yeah, he was supposed to announce to it today, wasn't he? No,
Yeah,
I don't have that.
It's last I saw, he had a scheduled meeting with the AD at 3:00 this afternoon.
With the Ole Miss
Anyways.
AD.
Yeah,
I do know that. I think what was it? The Florida. He basically turned down Florida. That's the only thing I know. I think I saw that on a ticker or something a night or two ago.
Okay, but we're not here to talk about Lane Kiffin. Sorry, I got distracted. In Ole Miss, talking about the Cotton Bowl. But yeah, this year 11-1. Now you got a shot to play. You are playing clinched. Friday night you clinched a spot in the Big 12 title game. Your boy has tickets. I'm going.
Yes.
I'm leaving work Friday afternoon, driving up to stay with my mom overnight, picking up my brother. We're going to the game early enough that we can try to catch some happenings before the game. I don't know if there's going to be a big tailgate scene. I don't know. 11 o'clock is kind of early for a neutral site, but hopefully there'll be some gauchos to go meet up with, go discuss things. And then we'll hit the game. And man, you talked about it earlier. Like, you don't want to count anything ahead of time, but I did see Texas Tech as a healthy 11.5 point favorite at this point over BYU next weekend. I know a lot of BYU players and fans think like they just want another shot at Texas Tech that they can do. I don't know if anything would change. It's like, again, it may be closer without any of the special teams weirdness that happened in Texas Tech's favor and against BYU, the muffed punt and the blocked field goal. Not the blocked field goal, the missed field goal. But I don't know, man. Chase Roberts maybe missing the game. I know they got JoJo Phillips back. Maybe Parker Kingston isn't going to be fed so many hospital balls. Because Bear Blockmeyer did him no favors. And then he was in his head basically from that muff punt on. LJ Martin, probably healthier. But again, I mean, there's not much that they did that worried me.
Well, and the counterpoint to all that is that was the Coach McGuire talked about the no stone zone. Now this is opposite of kind of what you would think. The getting to the red zone and not letting Stone Harrison bail you out. Harrington. As soon as it came out of my mouth, I knew that was wrong. So that was something that I think both of these teams are going to look at that game and see some things they needed to fix and needed to work on. BYU definitely will. And like you said, they may have fixed a couple of those things. But for those of you keeping score at home, which is what we do, I think Texas Tech has scored like 13 red zone touchdowns since that BYU game. And that was everybody's worry, including mine, about
on
punching
like 14 trips.
Yeah, punching it in. And one of the misses was your linebacker throwing an interception. that was bad. I mean, I don't know who to blame on that, but that was forced. Shouldn't have thrown that at that point, J-Rod. But
I feel like we're all over the place. We were talking about 2008.
Go back to offense,
and we're talking about Ole Miss, and now we're talking about BYU. We're going to talk about West Virginia. It was today.
Yes.
So defensively, lights out. You nearly threw an interception. Sorry, you nearly caught an interception, Bryce Pollock, and then it felt like a few plays later he was like he read Scotty Fox's mind. He read his mind and jumped a route, and he didn't. I don't know what Fox was throwing. Like maybe he thought it was gonna be like a quick hitch or something, and the receiver was not on the same page. Pollock was, though. He was there. He was ready for it. Had he been able to keep his feet, that would have been easiest pick six in his life. But fantastic read on that. Offensively, you mentioned red zone. You were, let me see,
6 of 7.
You were 6 of 7 today. The one that you missed was the interception. You had the J-Rod ran it in. was that the first touchdown of the day?
Yes, I believe so. That was the first drive.
Shh, stop it. This cancer drives me crazy. J-Rod, yeah, he was the first one. Cam Dickey, 4-yard reception, wide open. At the time, oh my gosh, at the time when it happened, we went 5 wide from the 4-yard line. I was like, what are we doing? And then he gets in the back of the end zone and is like waving his arms, like he's open, throw it, he's open. And then he finally throws it, and he was still open.
Yeah, that it was that replay when they slowed it down just a little bit. It seemed like it was very ridiculous.
Yeah. Then Douglas caught 2 back-to-back ones. One was up the seam, beautiful throw, and then the other one was a back shoulder double toe tap and on the sideline. That was fantastic to get you up 28. Then you were driving there right before the half. Like I said earlier, you ended up taking a sack. At the moment, I didn't love it. Yeah, I felt Morton could have thrown the ball away. On the replay, I was like, I don't know if he had time to even get to that point. The pocket collapsed around him. Had he tried to throw that away, it probably would have been grounding. So there was a few too many hits sustained by Morton to end the first half to my liking. I was getting frustrated with that. But you were up 28-0. I was even called out in the Discord. Like, couldn't imagine finding something to complain about up 28-0. I was like, yeah, well, leave it to me. I got you covered, guys. And then you but you come out of the half. First drive, Jacoby Williams has that incredible 9-yard run. I say incredible 9-yard run. He bounced off so many different hits and made so many good moves on his way into the end zone. That was a 5-play, 74-yard drive to go up 35. And then you went within a, what's that, 5.5 minute game span. Micah Hudson had 2 long touchdown catches, 15-30 from Lloyd Jones III. Mitch Griffiths came in after I believe it was the Jacoby Williams run. And then he played 2 or 3 series before he ended up leaving.
No, just one.
Okay. He got crunched.
I don't even think he finished. I can't remember.
Yeah. And they ended up calling it a fumble. I didn't love the call, but I also could see like where it was called a fumble on the field and there wasn't a whole lot to overturn it. And the camera quality of that shot, they had to zoom in so far to see it. There wasn't enough to overturn it. What hurt his case is that like the ball went along the line of scrimmage or like along a line that was painted on the turf, but in relation to his body, who was going backwards, the ball going parallel to the field was like, in relation to him, the ball was going forward, but that's not what they do. They were reading it off the field, not off of the player. Washington recovers that. He looked like got his leg caught up in the roll of the defenders. Did not come back after that. Lloyd Jones came in, and I seriously thought like we're not throwing a pass the rest of the game. So I wasn't sure how much confidence or how much leniency they were going to give Jones the ability to throw the ball. But then he came in and those 2 throws, those 2 touchdowns to Hudson were dots. There were times when he scrambled and he was moving on the ground. And he looked fast. I was like, well, Lloyd Jones, man. I was not familiar with your game.
Yeah,
because you haven't played in a while with your knee brace or your knee injury, and you've been out the entire season, which of course expected that because of recovery. But my goodness, welcome.
Yeah, my theory on that is he's probably played a lot of snaps with Micah Hudson at receiver, and so I just have my theory that no one has verified or anything is just that they've played a lot together in one form or another. So that the coaches may have felt comfortable with that, and obviously the two of them may have. And man, that first touchdown by Hudson, that was a really great catch. Our receivers were fantastic today. Douglas had some.
Mm-hmm.
You've already mentioned the 2 touchdowns. He had some other great ones along the way. We've got to throw out some love for Terrence Carter Jr.
Oh my gosh, yes.
The big man with the most receptions on the team today, 10 receptions, 98 yards. Got to get him in the end zone. We've just got to. He gets so close. He breaks off those 27, 28 yarders, and then he's down at the 2 or he's down at the 1. I mean, I know he's got some touchdowns on the season, but man, I'd love to see him get in the end zone some more before the season's over. Just really impressed with him and how he's able to make people miss. Even these short, I think he ran a drag route that I swear was 3 yards off the line of scrimmage, and he turned it into 30 because he's him. And so I'm just really impressed with that. I'd kind of back to the injuries. I know that Griffith seemed to be rubbing his knee when he was on the bike. And I think it was Douglas that went down too. And I didn't really hear anything. And he
came back though.
He did come back. Okay. Well, and that kind of confirms what McGuire said in the press conference, which they didn't have a microphone for the reporters today, which is always kind of annoying. So I don't know what they're asking. And you're depending on McGuire to go back and restate the question, which he's not obligated to do. But I think the only time they really addressed on injuries is he expected everyone to be active next week. He said he'd know for sure 1:00 on Sunday or whatever the day and time was. But I thought, well, that means Griffiths will be back, and of course Douglas. So
and Bailey, who left, I think it was right before half, and then was held out the second half.
Yeah, I figure a lot of it was precautionary. Cautionary? I don't know. Maybe I'm putting too many syllables in there. But I take that as a good sign. And it's the Big 12 championship game. I think anyone who can suit up, who may or may not actually be able to play, is going to.
Yeah, at this point, it's like no hold anything back now.
Yeah.
Waterboy quote. Yeah, so old Texas Tech man 9144 reminded me that Lloyd Jones III was a 4-star quarterback. So checking his recruiting profile, was a 4-star on the Rivals industry average. Played at Hitchcock High School in Hitchcock, Texas. I don't even know where that is without looking it up. So excited for his future. Chubb, if you recall the nickname, Chubb Jones. Morton finished 25 of 32 for 310 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, almost 80% completion. Chubb Jones was 4 of 5 for 74 yards, 2 touchdowns. J-Rod was 0 for 1. Sorry about it, your brother. Mitch Griffiths 0 for 1. So your quarterbacks finished 29 of 40 for 384 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interceptions, 73% completion. If that was one guy, I'd be a pretty salty line, considering the 73% completion percentage, the 5-1 touchdown to interception. But that was spread across 3 quarterbacks and a linebacker.
Would you say, I mean, I know it's recency bias, but I wanted to brag about Baron Morton too. Was this his best game of the season? Possibly. I mean, just he had some really, really good throws today.
Yeah, it looked like one, we knew that the West Virginia pass defense was susceptible, and he looked good taking advantage of that. He looked healthy.
And under pressure. He was, that was their one thing they could do was get pressure to him, and they did. They sacked him 4 times. We talked about most of that. He was hurried. He was uncomfortable, but still was able to throw some really, really good throws. And yeah, like you said, the secondary is not going to be the top 10 in the country or anything, but we've seen him and the receivers be a little off. But man, I did not get that feel today at all. No. Not even a little.
No, he looked good. Like I said, there were a couple of plays that he was sped up a little bit, but no. And then to somebody's credit, to the point when I was complaining in the Discord about him taking too many hits, like, yeah, but he's not getting up limping from these hits either. Like he looked like he was, the time he's been able to take off in the boot, off his leg, seemed to be really doing him a lot of help. So yeah, I mean, he's played in 3 complete games this season, whether it's because of injury concern or actual out for injury, or just you're up big and you're like, we have nothing to prove at this point. I mean, my goodness, it's been an unbelievable season, just to follow along, and then just to think like Morton's numbers are fairly, I mean, they're impressive, especially when you consider that like he's probably played 7 or 8 total games. Like, okay, he's got 2,200 passing yards. Like, well, that's nothing. Well, if you were to project that out over, if he played 12 full games, yeah, he's probably closer to 3,000. Which at this point in the season, like top 10 in the country, it blows my mind when I look at the passing leaders across the country, and it's like number 1 guy has, let's look it up real quick. Mestamaker has, I'm just guessing it's Mestamaker. Yeah. Okay. He's got 3,800 yards through Friday, which does include his game. So some of these guys aren't going to have it, but like, okay, Sawyer Robertson was thought to be like leading the country in passing yards. He's got 3,300. Josh Hoover 3,200. Number 10 from San Jose State, just over 3,000. So yeah, he would have been top 10 in the country had he played his full complement of games. 17 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He had a great game. All that to say, he had a great game. Probably one of his best of the season. Looked really good. Played 2.5-ish quarters, 2+ quarters today.
He finished on 12 straight completions.
There you go.
Dang. And this is pretty good. We'll take it.
Yeah. And then on the ground, you ran the ball 54 times. You finished the day rushing 40 times. You ran 94 plays today, which is that's a lot for this Texas Tech team. But when you score 49 points, you ran 54 times. Cam Dickey was your leading rusher, 12 carries, 79 yards. He does eclipse 1,000 yards on the season, rushing yards on the season. Does not add a rushing touchdown, but has a receiving touchdown. Jacoby Williams, 15 carries, 60 yards. So between the two of them, 27 carries for 139 yards. And a touchdown, 2 total touchdowns. And then you had Oliver Miles had 4 carries for 35 yards. Adam Hill was just churning out yards and really the clock there at the end. 10 carries, 14 yards. Lloyd Jones, 3 carries, 15 yards. Griffiths had 2 carries. Morton, he had an actual rushing play, and I hated it. and then a couple of sacks.
He kept it. I didn't like that either.
But you finished 54 carries, 188 total yards, 3.5 yards per carry. I think I think it was a lot to do with the game plan there late was just to keep the clock moving. This is no shade at Miles or Hill, but the point of them carrying the ball was to keep the clock moving. Adam Hill at 1.4 yards per carry is going to bring down the average of the team. And so like your 54 carries and 3.5 yards per carry, like it's whatever. You had a great day on the ground. Nearly 200 yards, 3.5 yards a carry. It's great. It's all you need. You mentioned the receivers. They had a pretty good day. I think what you saw today, like, I don't know if you could have scripted it better. End to the season, transitioning momentum, roll up, whatever you want to call it, into a conference title game. Outside of a couple of injury concerns that McGuire has mentioned, like everybody should be good to go. Outside of that, man, I don't know if you could have scripted this better. You got some looks on Morton, some pressure. It wasn't just the easiest day, but he still looked really good. You looked good on the ground. You looked good through the air. Defense was just stifling again. 37 yards given up on the ground. 29 of those came on one play. So if you take out that 29-yard rush, you held them to 21 carries and 18 yards. 18 yards on 21 carries. It's ridiculous. And I know that the red zone offense we talked about the past few weeks, had Rodriguez connected that pass, we would have just been praising Leftwich for his creativity and his genius in getting the ball into the end zone there. I think execution has a lot to do with how we determine being too cute versus red zone creativity. I don't know if he was actually looking at any other receiver, but John Carlos Miller was open. I would have also been perfectly okay with Rodriguez running the ball again, give that same look and run it. So I don't know. I'm not complaining. I love this game. I love how it sets you up for a rematch with BYU and how well you played. Not that BYU played poorly, but like the UCF was hanging around for a little bit longer than you would expect at home there in Provo. I don't know, man. We'll talk about the BYU preview this week and the preview part 2, getting ready for the Big 12 title game. Sorry, my little one is shooting me with a toy gun now. That's fun. Sorry. Anything you want to add, Michael?
No. I mean, it was a good win. I'm glad they won.
Yes, I'm glad they won. 11-1, 8-1 in Big 12 play. First in the conference, tied in terms of like standings technically and the numbers, but head to head with the second team, you got you in first place. It's an unbelievable season. Not done yet. Big 12 title game, and then you'll get the seeding following that. Man, it's got still so much ahead. of this team. So,
yeah, and to shed some light on that, I thought I could run through we can go around the Big 12 later, but right now, the CFP is kind of what we're all thinking about and hoping that Texas Tech would be able to make. And I think it's very likely, unless they just get blown out by BYU, that they have a shot of at least making it, even if they lose in the Big 12 conference game. But a little bit of shuffling is going to happen this week. Not a lot. The top was pretty heavy. Ohio State took down Michigan. Indiana took down Purdue. But number 3, Texas A&M, of course, lost Friday
hate to see it.
At number 16, Texas. I think that's going to bring Texas up probably more than it should. But I don't know if that's going to be Texas Tech's concern yet, unless things don't go well in Arlington. So number 4, Georgia won 16-9 at number 3, Georgia Tech. That one was really close the entire way. Texas Tech, of course, won number 5. So the ones I'm really keeping an eye on are Oregon. Number 6, Oregon took down Washington 26-14. 7, Ole Miss took down Mississippi State 38-19. Both of those were road games for both teams, for what that's worth. Oklahoma took down LSU 17-13. And number 9, Notre Dame, has just kicked off about 20 minutes ago versus Stanford. I don't have a score update for you.
Notre Dame is up 7-0 halfway through the first.
Yeah. So Stanford's won 4 games, got a coach fired last week for daring to win their 4th game versus Cal. Should be fine. Alabama is currently tied. They are number 10. They are tied with Auburn. And BYU, of course, is 11. They took care of UCF today. Although UCF scored 14 in the first quarter, it was 14-0. Then it was 17-14 at halftime, and then BYU ran off with it after halftime. So they let UCF hang around the first half. But anyway, I do think there's a chance there. What should happen is Texas Tech should move to 4th, Oregon to 6th, Ole Miss to 7th, OU to 8th. We'll see. There could be some jockeying there. I hope not. I could see there being a chance that Ole Miss moves up because their win at Mississippi State may be quote unquote more impressive than Oregon. But I mean, what are we doing at this point? I think that will also get settled if Auburn wins tonight, because if Auburn wins tonight, then Ole Miss will be in the SEC championship game versus Georgia. If Alabama wins tonight, then it'll be Georgia versus Alabama. So those will kind of start to offset each other, and that may weigh into the committee's decision. Ohio State will play Indiana in the Big Ten championship. ACC is just all over the place still, I think, as we're recording this. I think
Virginia won.
Yeah, it's some version of Virginia versus SMU, Miami, or Duke, depending on how things go. And I thought, well, how is Duke in this? They're 7-4, but they're like 6-2 in their conference, so they're in there. But yeah, before we recorded, I just saw that, well, there's 4 teams possible, and I do think Virginia versus Virginia Tech has gone final, or they were up enough to call it. But I think SMU, Miami, and Duke were still in the mix previously, at least an hour ago.
Yeah, so 7-5 Duke can make it to the ACC title game with a win. Did they win today? Let's see. Let's go to the ACC. Duke did win 49-32 over Wake Forest. A Pitt loss. Pitt did lose to Miami. And an SMU loss. SMU was down by 10. So Duke could legitimately make it into the ACC title game at 7-5 versus Virginia. It looks like Virginia has locked up that one spot. Who else is in a Yeah, Miami was eliminated from their title game because of a tiebreaker, and then Virginia's win knocked them out. Georgia Tech was eliminated with Duke's win. So I guess it's just down to SMU and Duke. I guess if SMU pulls off the comeback here, they're down by 10 on the road at Cal. They would face Virginia.
Yeah, the way the CFP's set up right now, I mean, Tech is in a great spot. Potential to secure a bye, especially if they take care of business in Arlington. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I want. I don't know if I want Georgia and Ole Miss to play each other, because then that would kind of get Alabama out of the picture if Alabama loses tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Still tied at 20. They have the ball with 10 minutes left in the fourth. So if Alabama were to lose tonight, they're number 10. That would essentially knock them out of the CFP. But then you've got Georgia and Ole Miss, number 4 and number 7, which likely is going to be number 3 and number 6 playing each other. And then if Ole Miss were to win, what are they going to do? Just swap places probably. So they're still both going to be up there. I don't know which scenario we want or don't want, but I think I'm too many steps ahead of myself. We need to see what the rankings are on Tuesday. And then Texas Tech needs to take care of business on Saturday, and then see what the rankings after that are.
Yeah, so A&M was basically the only ranked team that lost outside of Pitt, but they faced a higher ranked team.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee lost, but that was...
They were 19.
Yeah, that was 14. Vandy throttled Tennessee 45-24, I think. So that was it. That's pretty much the only L's kind of in that range.
Well behind you, yeah. So A&M losing creates some space for Texas Tech to move up. How far does A&M drop? I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what the committee says. It certainly helps that they lost a regular season game and not a Big 12 or not a conference title game. We've heard historically the committee doesn't penalize teams too harshly for losing a conference title game. What I don't like is how the committee differs year to year. And this is obviously going to be based on the makeup of the committee who's on it and their own personal interpretations of things and what they favor, or at least what they want us to believe. Like, I don't know if it's just if they put a face to like a BCS model or if it really is, a group of people watching games and debating this all out. But them losing a regular season game, I think, was helpful for Texas Tech to create some space. And then it begs the question, it came from the chat again, is it better to, better to get a bye through the first round of the playoffs or have a home game? Assuming we look ahead of the Big 12 title game, assuming Texas Tech wins, I think I'm split here, Michael, because I think a home playoff game in Lubbock would just be absolutely insane.
Right, and that brings you to now. I don't know. I mean, James Madison's in the mix there. If Texas Tech were to get the 5th seed and host number 12, in that scenario at least, Tulane was the highest ranked G5 last week, or G6, and they won tonight versus a 1-win Charlotte team, 27-0. So they will still be the highest ranked, I believe, this week. But North Texas and James Madison may have something to say about that after next week. We'll just kind of have to just see where that falls. But as much as I like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I would want to pick. I would love to see Lubbock get the chance to host a game like this, but if if I was told then you get to just have another bye week, I think I would take it. Even though selfishly I want to go to a college football playoff game, 6 miles north of my house. Sounds great.
Yeah. And then, I mean, we've seen how this team has come back after a bye week and how well they've played and how just every little bit of extra little bit of rest can help. Would it concern you to look at what happened last year to the teams that all had a bye and they all lost?
Yeah, that would concern me.
Like you just want to keep playing, like you roll in, like, okay, we had your conference title game, and then when you get to the playoff starts, then you're good to go. You just keep rolling it, but I don't know. Like I said, I think a home game would be fantastic. Atmosphere would be wild. You don't have a group of 6 strong enough to probably take a spot higher than 12. So if you were at 5, you would be taking on that Tulane or whoever that spot goes to, not SMU. Whereas if you were even any lower, like a 6, you get like a Miami maybe or an Alabama. I don't know. I think a second round game banner, if you were to have one, like it's just unbelievable. So, I don't know. I want to see Texas Tech absolutely throttle BYU next weekend, and then we'll worry about where everybody's going to shake out in the rankings and matchups and rest versus no rest or whatever. But you already went through the ranked teams. Do you want to talk about Big 12 at all, or because we were playing in the title game next week, like it didn't really matter and all that was kind of squared away?
Yeah, I mean, I will run through the scores. That's about all I've got on it. Just in case anybody is listening, they're on, getting that last 40 acres of cotton in, and they hadn't been able to catch the last of the game before this cold front blew in out here. So anyway, Friday night, Utah took care of Kansas 31-21 in Lawrence. Arizona, of course, thank you so much again, Seth Dagey, beat 23-7. They beat Arizona State in Tempe. Iowa State, they had a close call in Stillwater today. Took care of Oklahoma State 20-13. I think that one was tied with just a few minutes left. Kansas State, I did not keep up with this at all because who cares, but this was probably closer than they expected. Colorado went to Manhattan and lost 14-24, so K-State wins. Houston, I think this one was close late too, took care of Baylor in Waco 31-24. Of course, we already mentioned BYU hosted UCF, let them hang around the first half, but then won 41-21. And TCU, after a delay, which I didn't see what the delay was, I assume it was weather-related, throttled Cincinnati 45-23 at home. Cincinnati had a rough November.
Yeah, they were in a spot to be competing for a spot within the conference title game.
Yeah, they have not won a game since October 25th. They lost their last 4.
TCU had a running back, Jeremy Payne, 26 carries, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Say that again,
man. TCU had a running back, 26 carries, 174 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Good night.
So they ran 52 times on the day, 238 yards, 4.6 yards per carry. Hoover went 19 of 22.
Whew. And I thought Baron Morton was hot today.
306 and 4 touchdowns.
Yep. Every Big 12, I can talk. Every Big 12 team was in action this weekend. Unfortunately, the season is over for 14 of the 12 teams. Yeah.
Try again.
Of 14 of the Big 12 teams.
Okay. In the sense that like they're not playing for the conference title game. I was like,
yeah,
more than 2 teams are making a bowl game. I got you. I'm a little slow tonight. Yeah, they're gonna be off next week, except for Texas Tech and BYU. They're all be watching us play. And like, man, if we had just gotten $18 million more dollars pumped into our roster, if we had just got another shot at Texas Tech, that could be us.
I bet Utah is really going to be conflicted having to root for BYU again, because that's the only way they could possibly inch into the CFP. Not the only way, one of the ways, but let's be realistic. I mean, they're not going to let. I would be surprised if they let 2 Big 12 teams in it.
Would you be surprised if
3?
If a second Big 12 team got in it and it was like Texas Tech and Utah? Could you see that play out?
I could see that play out because as of right now, BYU is 11, Utah's 13. Let's say they both. Now they're not going to both move. I bet A&M settles in at 9 or 10 or something like that. So if Texas Tech takes care of business in Arlington, and I think I've said that 6 times, I'm going to stick with that phrasing, they will hopefully see a lopsided score that may make the committee go, well, BYU's, we're going to drop them down to 17 or 18. And that leaves room for Utah to move up. It absolutely does. And especially with who knows what, Notre Dame's not going to be playing next week. Miami's not playing next week. Some opinions could change with all these teams that aren't playing. Resumes could be reviewed versus teams that did just play a conference championship. I don't know. I don't know what we're about to see. But yeah, I do think there is a path for Utah to jump back into the legit conversation there. And I think it's going to take Texas Tech rattling off a very sound defeat in Arlington for that to happen.
Did you see the tweet from the BYU athletics page after their victory today?
Mm-mm.
They had like their resume numbers and everything. It was like, it'd be a shame for this team to be left out of the like a disgrace to our sport if this team was left out of the playoff.
Oh, did you hear Sarkisian saying that kind of same thing right at the end? I mean, right as the guys, y'all are 9-3. Let's tap the brakes a little bit. You lost to Florida. I mean,
they beat the number 3 team in the country, Michael.
Sure, they sure did. In probably their best game of the season, and it took overtime to beat Mississippi State, and it took overtime to beat Kentucky, or whatever that stretch was. But and Sarkisian had something about basically saying, well, we had the guts to go to Ohio State and play a tough non-con schedule. And okay,
sure, you get credit for scheduling not the worst teams.
You get credit for,
but you get credit for winning games.
You don't get credit for scheduling
it. you get you get credit on your strength of schedule number.
Sure, I guess.
But you get more credit for winning the games on your schedule.
Yes. I mean, if you have more points than they do, then you really get some credit.
A win is better than a loss, no matter who the opponent is.
Always.
All right, let's catch up through some of these comments and wrap this thing up, Michael.
Okay.
All right, Last Sunrise was having some issues early, but he says, I don't think I can show my reaction in public if we win the conference championship next Saturday. Just the thought of it makes my heart want to burst. I'll be there, so I'll be probably hoarse, no voice coming home, win or lose, unless it's a blowout. And either way, I just don't see that happening. I mean, I think if anything's, I don't know. I don't want my heart to to get set on a blowout for Texas Tech, but I think if anything, you could have a more likely to repeat what you saw versus BYU to flip it. But that's why you play the game. Jacob says, got invited to a watch party for Colorado Springs area Red Raider fans, alumni next weekend. So pumped. That sounds like it's going to be a great time. My Coastal Bend area alumni group, not doing so hot. I think we're having a change in leadership. I got invited through the app, the Alumni Association app. They said, hey, there's a game watching party out in Rockport, which is, it's not close, but it's the closest one where I'm at. Like, hey, we're going to this place. And I was like, I'm not driving all the way to Rockport. I do want to get involved with the Alumni Association down here, but like I said, they're going through a little transition at this moment. Maybe they need a young face such as this to reinvigorate it. I have no idea what that would look like. I've never been a part of an Alumni Association group chapter, so I wanted to get involved, and they were like, we're kind of without a leader right now. It's like, well, that's not good.
That's not how I want to get involved. I just want to eat some queso with some Red Raiders for 3 hours.
Like, I want to show up to a game watch party and enjoy my time with y'all, not like step in and take over.
Oh, you got any time? How are you at organizing things and communicating with lots of people?
The communication part, sure. Party planning, event planning, that's not my skill set. Red Raider Roy was telling us where he's sitting. I'll be up in the nosebleeds, but I'll still be there.
That's right. Jerry will have that nice big TV just for you.
Yeah, but I'm close to midfield ish, but I'll be up in the 400s. So, yeah. He says John Colliers Miller was open. Yeah, we talked about that. Old Texas Tech man, he says awfully early. Tall Tech was a 12.5 point favorite. I've seen now 11.5, 12.5. Let me look it up again. See if it's changed. Oh, wait, hold on. The app wants to be funny. Show me the matchup.
Show me the matchup.
It's not on the ESPN app. Where do you get your numbers, Michael?
I usually get it on the Score app, or on ESPN where they list all the games. They have it there. I also have the Action app, which is a fun way to make bets that does not involve money. You just track and in my case, really awful bets. So I don't really actually use it to make, to quote unquote bet anymore. I just use it to keep up with lines for this podcast. That's really it. And I'm trying to open it, but apparently there's been some, I don't know what you want to call it, some update or something. I can't even get to it.
FanDuel has at 12.5 right now for Texas Tech.
Okay. Yeah, let's see. I don't know where we're. Yeah, I can't find it on here yet. Oh, wait. Conference championships. Go back. Yeah, they don't have any on here yet.
Yeah. He also added in, I believe, saying has guaranteed the Heisman. If it's going to a quarterback after today, it's going to be hard to argue that one. He said a good quarterback on the best team. That's been the MO for the Heisman in recent history. Ponder needs big practice time. I don't know what that's in response to. But that's what happens when you go back and read comments.
Maybe wanting the bye week.
Yeah.
Maybe that.
Start Micah Hudson next week or move him up to second string. I think he is second string behind Caleb Douglas. I don't think he starts over Douglas unless Douglas is hurt, but that wouldn't be starting over Douglas. It'd be just in place of him. I think what we also saw was to what Michael pointed out, good chemistry. I think even the athletic department said something to that, like the connection between these two. Again, like that may have been the only person Chubb Jones was comfortable throwing the ball to. But he had a heck of a game. I'm there's no way to put down what he did. It was fantastic. I want to see more of that. His back shoulder adjustments to those throws, just beautiful.
Well, that catch above his head, any catch where you can't see the ball or your hands, yeah, those blow my mind.
He subscribed. Very much appreciate that. Thank you, sir. And then he said Tech should move up to the number 4 spot.
Agree completely.
Yeah. We already talked about the question from Mandy about the bye versus home game. Last Sunrise responded, bye week theoretically is better for health reasons. I would love a playoffs game in Lubbock, though. I think we said just as much. She also responded, my thoughts as well. It's the PTSD of last year's top 4 byes all losing, but one more week to get healthy wouldn't be too bad.
Well, Ohio State technically had a bye because they didn't even play in the Big Ten championship. And then they just stonewalled people. So maybe Tech just takes their bye at a different time in this scenario, and it's not a big deal.
Let's look at the YOF schedule. I hate that. I really hate saying YOF.
What? What is that?
You've not heard people call it the YOFs?
No.
Yeah, well. I don't want the
That's hideous.
Not the bracket. I want the schedule of games. Where's the bowl game schedule? CFP schedule.
I had for whatever reason, I had a tough time pulling that up the other day.
All right. First round games, December 19th and 20th. So even then you would have, if you played in the first round, you'd still have the 13th, 12th, 13th off following the conference championship game. And then if you got it to the quarterfinals, they are the 31st and the 1st. So it's almost 2 weeks after that first round. I mean, 12 days. So you get 3 weeks off. And maybe that's where it's like, that's just too much time.
Yeah, maybe so. Christmas is in there. Taking time off to go with their families.
Be early Christmas, hopefully. Get back in time. Or super late. We're like only going to do it after. First round games, 19th and 20th. Quarterfinals on December 31st, January 1st. Semifinals, 8th and 9th. And the title game would be the 19th. So quarterfinals, Cotton Bowl. You could just be back in the Cotton Bowl and play 2 games back to back in Arlington. And then the games on the first would be the Orange Bowl in Miami, Rose Bowl in Pasadena, Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. Semifinals, Fiesta Bowl in Glendale, Peach Bowl in Atlanta, and the championship will be back in Miami. All right, then we were also talking about some rankings in here. If Alabama wins, Oklahoma is out. Alabama is up at the 2-minute warning, 2-minute timeout.
Yep.
27-20. And then A&M may drop to 6 or 7. That seems reasonable for a ranked loss on the road, rivalry, only a couple spots. The biggest problem for A&M is that literally everybody else won. And that doesn't mean like everybody else that won gets ahead of them, but they could tumble further because there's nowhere to slot them. There's no great not like a break, right? Okay, they fall no further than this type thing.
Yeah, not only did everybody else win, but their resume is complete. They're done. So there's still going to be a chance to shuffle the deck one more time, and their hands are tied. That's all they can do, and that's the last thing everybody's going to remember is the is the loss to Texas.
And then Manny asks, does the selection committee change? No, the entire.
Well, except for Mac Rhodes.
It does not change. The entire selection committee does not change annually every year. They serve staggered 3-year terms. So you won't get a complete whitewash, whole new crew in there every year, but like it will shift every year. And then the chairman, I think, changes every year. Yeah.
I do think that's true because I think Hokut was the chairman only once.
Yeah. You do get weird times like this year. Mac Rhodes was the chairman, and then he stepped down and then was fired as the AD, and you get 2 chairmen this year. I'm with Coach McGuire with the bye. Yeah, I mean, if you get the bye, that's such a long time to sit and prepare, or to be whatever. But that's a lot. That's a long time to also heal up. Does Skyler Go Howard would he be able to work himself back in with another month off?
Wow.
I don't know. Golf ball 005. So happy that Michael got 2 touchdowns. You could tell by the congratulations on the sideline. His teammates were happy for him. I think that shows has been working hard in practice. So yeah, I also noticed that it seems like the team is still very much in on him. And then TMN 1231. Oh God, not y'all doing the offs too. I just apparently Michael's not doing it.
No.
I don't like saying yoffs. I don't like the sound of yoffs. I would much rather do the playoffs every time. Anything else, Michael, before we wrap this one up?
I don't have anything. This is probably one of those kind of surreal seasons that we'll look back on and think about for the rest of our lives. It's kind of strange being in that moment and knowing that, but then it not feeling surreal right now. It's just feeling like, well, Tech's got another game next week. They have to beat a team that tends to hang around with every other team except Tech for whatever reason. And hopefully they can be as dominant as they were, a month ago in Lubbock. But yeah, it's weird being on both sides of this, being the 4 and 8 years and the 5 and 7 years, and having your coach fired after losing a 23 or 24 point lead at home and all that kind of stuff, to be at this position right now, and then truly just kind of not enjoying it yet, or at least that's where I am. I am enjoying it. I don't want to act like I'm not, but I just know I'm in that space right now where 10 years from now I'll look back and go, man, that was a heck of a year. What a run. I wish I'd have enjoyed it more.
Yeah. I mean, this is the good old days.
Yep.
For Texas Tech. You're in it. Defensive performance that you may never see again, historical in terms of like what you've seen here, not only in Texas Tech, but in the Big 12. We'll do more of the season recap here in the next week on the next episode. Yeah, I think you finished the season, the regular season, allowing fewer than 12 points per game. And again, in reference to Big 12 history, that's top 3, I believe. We're talking about like 90s Nebraska, Kansas State, and like the 2009 Nebraska team.
That Texas Tech beat in Nebraska.
Mm-hmm. With Sheffield, even though Ndamukong Suh
a hobbled Sheffield
broke his foot. Sorry, Ndamukong Suh broke Sheffield's foot. That's what I was trying to say. But then you took it to him 31-10. Yeah, so we'll be back on Tuesday, I believe, this week.
Yes.
Sorry, I was trying to see if the music was playing. It's now playing. To give another recap, but really a recap of the season, the regular season, and then prepare for the Big 12 title game. I still can't believe we're saying this. The season's over. Regular season's over, 11-1. I guess what I want to say is like, this is kind of like the 1-0 every week. Like, oh man, that's it. Anyways, Tech win. We're back on Tuesday. For Michael, I'm going to
Thank you for listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast. Help us out by subscribing, rating the show, and leaving a review. Follow us on Twitter at 23 Personnel, Spencer at PuntSuck, and Michael at Michael_LVK. Be sure to catch the next episode. And until then, guns up and let the tortillas fly.